यस्य सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, welcome to the Nectar of Instructions Bhakti Shastri series. This is the last verse in the Updeshamrit which we are discussing today. It is the 11th text. And we have been seeing that last three texts of the Updesh Amrit speak about the Prayojan. After discussing Abhidheya, Abhidheya in one sense is discussed from verses 1 to 8, but specifically verses 7 and 8 speak about both Abhidheya, how to chant and destroy the anarthas, avidya. Text 9 speaks about Raganuga Bhakti, and Tishtan Vraje speaks in text 9. And then in Vraj, who are the topmost devotees? That are the gopis. But both in 9 and 10, we saw that Rupa Goswami is focusing his one pointed attention that make the goal to serve Radha and Krishna on the banks of Radhakund. Now, this has been one pointed attention, and this is where uh, we don't find it any of the acharyas, giving this very specific goal that if you have to choose your place of service should be as the maid servant of Srimati Radharani, specifically on the bank of Radhakund, because at the bank of Radhakund, Radha and Krishna perform their most intimate pastimes. So Radha and Krishna perform Ras Leela. Where all they perform the Ras Leela? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. I hope the question is clear. Where all do Radha and Krishna perform their Ras Leela pastimes? Haribol. I hope the question is clear for every one of you. Okay. Uh, Jitendra Prabhuji, yes.
Prabhuji, whatever I have heard, it is Kunj Nikunj.
Nikunj, that is in Vamshi, what in Vrindavan, yes.
Yes.
Then
The,
where else?
as,
Yes.
maybe near Radhakund.
Okay. Where did you hear that?
Nearby that is place where that cows. What name was that?
Arishtasur.
No, not that.
Okay.
Exactly, I'm not remembering. Prabhuji. Exactly, I'm not remembering.
Rajat Shai Prabhuji, you have to say something.
Apaji Govardhan.
Your audio again is not so clear. You have to work on
Govardhan.
your audio, I feel, Prabhuji.
Govardhan.
Govardhan, then where else? Where else? So Radha and Krishna perform their Ras Leela in three different places, three different locations. One is well known and quite famous is the Sharad Purnima, when after lifting the Govardhan, the pastime happened. That is in Vamsivat, which is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he played his flute and all the gopis in the dark of the night came there. And then Krishna instructed in some Maryada Dharma, and then later on, he performed the Ras Leela pastime. So it is mentioned that although Krishna enjoys this Ras Leela, but even the sadhana Siddha gopis, that means these gopis who have perfected their lives from the previous births and they've got gopis' bodies, and like the Shijis of Dandakaranya rishis and the Rishichari gopis, even they participate in this Ras Leela in Vrindavan. So Krishna doesn't fully relish the rasa there. Just like sweet rice, you have small grains, then you can not fully relish the sweet rice, something like that. You have to understand. And then Krishna performs his Ras Leela on Govardhan. And on Govardhan, only it is the Nitya Siddha gopis, that is the eternal gopis from the spiritual world, only they are allowed to participate, and Krishna relishes that. But on the bank of Radhakund, during the Madhyana pastimes, among the Ashtakaliya pastimes, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions that Sri Krishna performs his Ras Leela pastimes on the bank of Radhakund, and this is the highest rasa Krishna relishes. And this is where Radha and Krishna perform their most intimate pastimes, the water sport pastimes. And there, there are the assistants, the Manjaris. There is Rupa Manjari, who's Rupa Goswami, and all the Manjaris. And Rupa Goswami is telling that we should aspire to serve Srimati Radharani at Radhakund. And how we can get the mercy of Srimati Radharani? By seeing that, taking shelter of Radhakund, because Radhakund is not different from Srimati Radharani. As much as, for Krishna, the dearmost is Srimati Radharani, similarly is Radhakund, that we saw in two verses. So that's why Rupa Goswami is making this goal very, very clear, and nowhere else in any other literature, in even Rupa Goswami's literature, is so much emphatically made clear as it is in the small text of Updeshamrit about what is our goal, that we should aspire to serve Radha and Krishna as maid servants uh, on the bank of Radhakund. This is what even in the purport Prabhupada is going to mention. So now in this verse, the glory of taking bath in Radhakund, that is what is going to be stressed. The glory of taking bath in Radhakund will be emphatically brought out. What is the Radha Kund Bhag Snan Saubhagya? That's what even Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this verse deals with. Radha Kund Snana Saubhagya. That is what this is speaking. Now let's recite this verse. And this is also in Sardhul Vikridita, I think. कृष्णस्योच्च प्रणयवसति प्रेयस्योऽपिराधा खुण्डं चास्य मुनिभिरभितास्तादृक् एव व्यादाहि यत्प्रेष्ट्यरप्यलम् अशुबलं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजं तत्प्रेमिदं सकृद् अपि सरः स्नातुर् आविष्करोति. I'll recite once again. कृष्णस्योच्चः प्रणयवसतिः प्रयसेभ्योऽपिराधा कुण्डं चास्यामुनिभिरभितास्तादृक् एव व्यादाहि यत्प्रेष्ट्यरप्यलम् असुलभम् sorry it is यत्प्रेष्ट्यरप्यलम् असुलभं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजां तत्प्रेमेदं सकृद् अपि सरः स्नातुर् आविष्करोति. Out of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Rajumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. Krishnasya Uchchai. Uchchai means among the most, among the many objects. Pranaya. Pranaya means lovable. Vasati Prayosya api Radha. It is Srimati Radharani. Kundam chasya munibir abitas tadrik eva vyadahi. And in every respect, her divine kund is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Again, the same point is coming in 9 and 10, and again it is repeated. And undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rarely attained even by great devotees. Yat preshtir alam asulabam api kim punar bhakti bhajam. So even those who are perfected devotees, even they, you know, even they can rarely attain Radha Kund. And it will come with the purport. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions that even Narad Muni and the four Kumaras cannot approach Radha Kund. Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajam. Therefore, it is more even it is even more difficult for the ordinary devotees to attain. What to speak of those who are practicing bhakti. And that's why Tat Prema Idam Sakradapi. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, Sakradapi, once. What happens? One's pure love for Krishna is fully aroused. Now, how many of you have visited Radha Kund here? Please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4, 5. So only Priya Mataji and Sri Lalita Mataji have not visited. And tell me, how many of you have taken bath in Radha Kund? Raise your hands. Now you can lower your hands first and then raise your hands. How many of you have got an opportunity to take bath in Radha Kund? So it's only two, Chakra Rama and Shubha Ikshana Krishnaguri. So Shubha Ikshana Prabhuji, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribol?
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear you.
But your audio is not so clear to me.
Oh, is it Prabhu? I am from laptop, Prabhu. I do not know, maybe for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, it's better. So you have taken bath in Radha Kund, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
So did you get Krishna Prem?
We are not that exalted, Prabhu, as of now.
But here in this verse, it is mentioned that if one takes even once, if one simply bathes even once within those holy waters, one's pure love for Krishna is fully aroused.
For great devotees of pure devotees.
But where it is mentioned like that?
Undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rarely attained. Attained means that's the real meaning of attaining.
No, but you have gone to Radha Kund, so you have attained Radha Kund. There's
Because
great
of
sages
our
can.
yes, sir, because of our aparadha and all, we could not actually get the real
Did you visit Radha Kund first?
yes, no, Prabhu.
Why?
It was
You
just a visit like that, yes.
just a visit means what is that?
Not the spiritual aspect of it, because we have again lot of layers within our soul. So that has to be removed to actually experience the Radha Kund.
Yeah. So basically, actually, what this verse is saying is very, very true. Tat premidam sakrad api saras natur avishkaroti. That sakrad api, even once one takes dip in Radha Kund, actually one's pure love for Krishna is fully aroused. But and yesterday and day before I brought out this point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually found out Radha Kund, he was saying. So what that means is, what yesterday and day before I was discussing is that there is a visible Radha Kund which you can see. It is in this direction, the signboard is there. You can, when you from Chattikara you go, on the right is Radha Kund, on the left is Govardhan Road. So the visible signboard is there, and that's how you reach Radha Kund. But this is called as the Drishyamana Radha Kund. The Drishyamana Radha Kund, that which is visible to our eyes. But there is that Aprakat Radha Kund. Aprakat means that is the spiritual Radha Kund which is seen only by spiritual eyes. for those who have pure bhakti. So it is speaking about taking bath in that Radha Kund. So we might visit this, but we are not able to see the real Radha Kund, because the real Radha Kund is completely spiritual. Yesterday we were describing, and day before we are describing how the Radha Kund is all, made of diamonds and jewels, and there are these Ashtakundas in the center of all the Ashtasakis, and then there is a divine swing. So it's all it is bedecked with diamonds and jewels. So where do you see that? You just see some buildings and all, so much in and around people. There's gutter water flowing. This is what in our material vision we see. But actually, divine Radha Kund is, only seen by pure devotees. It is in this Kund, you know. And if you remember, and if you had observed, Prabhupada in the previous verse purport had made it very, very clear for verse number 10. If you remember, Prabhupada said that, in a spiritual body surcharged, he had used the word, if you remember. I'm just sharing once again on the screen the 10th verse purport. The 10th verse itself. Prabhupada, who will not then reside at Radha Kund? In a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrit bhav. So there is a aprakrit bhav, means, spiritual bhava bhakti, and there is the aprakrit Radha Kund also. And there serve the divine couple who perform their Ashtakali Leela. So this is what, is, for us to be understood, the true meaning of this verse. And of course, whatever Drishyaman Vrindavan we see, we should visit that, and we should take as much time bath. Firstly, we should get the permission of our spiritual master. And this should be done with extreme respectful attitude. And that will purify our chitta. And with that, we might start practicing Shuddha Bhakti. And over a period of time, when our chit is completely pure and we attain Shuddha Bhakti and we attain Bhava Bhakti, in that spiritual body, in that spiritual vision, we can actually take bath, and that will be taking bath in the Aprakat Radha Kund. And with that one bath, we immediately attain Prema. So that is how we need to understand this verse. I hope it is clear. So this is what is the deeper meaning of this verse. And our prayojan is very, very clear, made by our, Rupa Goswami. Again, the font here, because I could not install, Radha Kunda Snana Saubhagya Parakashta, the pinnacle, the topmost of the holy place in the entire universe. Now, the purport has only just 2 paragraphs, which we'll briefly discuss. Glories of Radha Kund. Beloved object of Krishna, why it is so much worshipped? Srimati Radharani is most beloved object of Krishna. Radha Kund belongs to Srimati Radharani. Similarly, Radha Kund is as dear to Krishna as Srimati Radharani, described by great sages. Attainment, very rarely attained, even by great personalities like Narada, Sanak and Sanatan. What to speak of ordinary devotees who practice Vaidhi Bhakti? No. Now, can you tell me what is the reason like great sages like Narada, Sanak and Sanatan also cannot attain Radha Kund? They cannot come to Radha Kund. We can go to Radha Kund, at least the Drishyamana Radha Kund, and take reverential holy dip. But even these great personalities, perfected personalities like Narad, Sanak and Sanatan, why they cannot come to Radha Kund? What is the reason? Anyone can think of some reason? What is the reason? Your audio is not good, Rajat Shai Prabhuji.
Haji, Radha Kund in
Now it is
spiritual,
better.
Radha
Yes,
Kund,
very,
Radha
very
Kund
good.
in spiritual world.
Radha Kund is?
In spiritual world, they are not able to come. we are we able to come in material world, but it's related to spiritual world also. Radha Kund, where you were talking, that's related to the spiritual world. Radha Kund.
Lot of people from this Mathura presents and all villages go to Radhakund. So why Narad Muni, who can go to the spiritual world, cannot come there? What is the reason?
Because there is one spiritual Radha Kund is also there.
So Narad Muni can go to spiritual world in
No,
Vaikuntha.
not able to go to the spiritual world.
Why he is not able to go to the spiritual world? Narad Muni.
Radha Kund.
Why? That is what is my question. Why he Narad Muni can go to the spiritual world, then why he cannot go to the Radhakund? What is the reason? Even why they cannot approach Radhakund? What is the reason? The real reason is Narad Muni and the four Kumaras are in Shanta and Dasiras. The four Kumaras are in Shantaras and Narad Muni is in Dasiras. Whereas Radhakund is a place where Krishna performs his Madhurya Lila. So wherever the Madhurya Lila is performed, the Shant or the Dasya Bhaktas have no access there. They have no access there. Just like even Mother Yashoda, she's in Vatsalya Bhav. So she has loving reciprocations with Krishna. But Krishna goes to the daytime to the forest to play with his friends. So there he's relishing his Sakyaras. So even Mother Yashoda has no access. So that's why she doesn't come to the forest. Because Krishna is there relishing Sakyaras. And similarly, Krishna, when he's relishing his Madhurya Mother Yashoda doesn't enter there. So similarly, the Shanta and the Dasya Bhaktas cannot approach Radhakund because they are in Shanta Bhav or Dasya Bhav. That is the reason. Yes, Sri Lalita Mataji, you had to say something or you had some question?
I just one question because later I forget. Actually, what is the Shantaras, Prabhu?
There are the five rasas,
Yeah, five I got to know, but what is it majorly? See, Madhurya has something Vatsalya, that I understood, but Shantaras is about like what?
Shantaras, you'll have to study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and try to understand. Basically, there is, the Ishwar is there, who is the controller of this universe. It is
Okay,
basically the worship of the Vishnu, and the
okay,
yogis conceive
okay,
that the Lord is the creator of this universe and they have awe and reverence for him.
okay, okay,
Although they have the darshan of the Ishwar in the heart, the Paramatma, who is Kshirodakshay Vishnu,
okay,
but they just have awe and reverence and the loving attitude of serving that I am the servant, you are my master, that has still not developed. That gets
okay,
developed in Dasiras. And
okay.
then further intimacies in Sakya, and then further
Yeah,
more
that
intimacy in
is fine.
Vatsalya, and the highest intimacy in Madhurya, like that.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Jitendra Prabhuji, yes.
Prabhuji, my question is that you said they are into Dasya and Shantras, that's why they are not going. So over
Yeah,
here
that's
in
why they
ISKCON,
cannot access that region.
so in ISKCON, we are practicing mainly the Das Ras, na? We
Pardon?
are the Das. In ISKCON, we are practicing Das Ras, right?
Who told you that?
With everyone's name behind there is Das, 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 na? Everyone we
Yeah,
can see.
that is Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas.
Das, yes.
That is a generic thing which is mentioned as it's a common denominator. But
Okay.
as we have to get qualified to practice, Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. Then we have to come to the point of Raganuga Sadhana, attain Bhava Bhakti. And then these four rasas, Vraj Bhakti is accessible in Mahaprabhu's movement in International Society for Krishna, but we have to become qualified for it. And we can, the bhakti which is pure attachment for Krishna, spontaneous love, Raga Bhakti. And this Rag Bhakti is in four categories we saw: Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. We saw this in text 8. The Dasya are Chitrak and Patrak, if you remember. You have seen that poster of Krishna, Mother Yashoda is dressing Krishna, and there are two servants, two children, who are also dressing Krishna. So that is, in more Dasiras. Then Krishna playing with his friends in Govardhan, that is Sakyaras. Then Krishna and Mother Yashoda, it's Vatsalya, and Krishna and the gopis is Madhurya. So this is what Mahaprabhu has to come to give, but of course we need adhikar. Das everyone is, even the Vaikunta, the Das, this is there, but there is more of awe and reverence. There's no intimacy. So even in Madhurya, the gopis are, servants of Krishna,
Okay.
but it is in Madhurya Ras that you have to understand. Mother Yashoda
Okay.
is
Dasi is
also,
already there in the four rasas, already some part, Dasi, everyone holding
yeah,
that.
Das is included in all. Included in all. That's the point.
So basically, our Gaudiya Vaishnavism on this Madhurya Ras.
Yes, that's what Mahaprabhu has come to give, Ujjwala Ras, the highest among the four rasas. Okay, so let's go to the purport. Okay, benefits of taking bath. At once develops pure love of Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes bath in Radhakund. Now, the deeper meaning of this, I hope we understood. Most important item in execution of devotions, even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of it, he should take bath in the lake as many times as possible. Of course, we'll explain more in detail about this aspect, and we'll try to elaborate on that. But let's go to Prabhupada's purport, which is very short now. Prabhupada says, why is Radhakund so exalted? Because it belongs to Srimati Radharani. The lake is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani, who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna. Krishna Ucha, what is it? Krishnocha Pranaya Vasati Preyasabhi Pirada. That's why. Among all the gopis, she is the most beloved. Similarly, her lake, Sri Radhakund, is also described by great sages as the lake that is dear to Krishna, as Radha herself. So many were asking, where is the quotation? All these verses, 3 verses are quotations. Indeed, Krishna's love for Radhakund and for Srimati Radharani is the same in all respects. Radhakund is very rarely attained, even by great personalities fully engaged in devotional service, not to speak of ordinary devotees who are engaged in. Okay, somehow it has got cut, I think. Where is it? Yeah, some more. Let me reduce the font. Yeah. Okay, let me take this so that, yeah, this is better. Who are only engaged in practice of Vaidhi Bhakti. Yes. So how is it possible? So we have to understand that it is rarely attained even by great personalities. Proper statements here, you have to mark them. Rarely attained even by great personalities, that too fully who are engaged in devotional service. So this is speaking about perfected devotees. Even the perfected devotees like Narad and Vyas, yeah, even Vyas also, okay, in fact, the 4 Kuvanars, they cannot, they cannot attain Radhakund. Then what to speak of ordinary devotees who are engaged in practice of Vaidya Bhakti? It is stated that a devotee will at once develop pure love for Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radhakund. Now, this statement is what we were, discussing. So first, you have to directly not go to verse 11. First, you'll have to see first 7 verses which speak about Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. The 8th verse spoke about Raganuga Bhakti. The 9th verse spoke about actually Radhakund and the topmost devotee is Srimati Radharani. And there it was mentioned that surcharged with spiritual emotions, aprakrita bhav, that means he has attained Bhava Bhakti. So from Bhava Bhakti, one who has attained Bhava Bhakti, when he takes a bath in Radhakund, actually he is able to come in contact with the spiritual Radhakund, the aprakrit Radhakund. And that also happens by the mercy of the Dham and the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And then he will immediately develop prema. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radhakund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. So this point is what we wanted to now discuss. Now, Prabhupada was, with his disciples, and Prabhupada very reverentially took a bath, but his disciples were started frolicking and playing there. And Prabhupada was very, very upset with the water sports and behaving there. When Prabhupada, he said, when you kick Radhakund, you're kicking Srimati Radharani's body. Prabhupada was so heavy. And then Prabhupada forbade the devotees to swim. But then when Prabhupada was asked, can we take a bath in Radhakund respectfully? Prabhupada said yes. And Prabhupada also said that my spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta Sarji Thakur never put his feet in Radhakund, but only took a few drops. So Bhakti Siddhanta Sarji Thakur twice visited Vrindavan. Both the times he did the parikrama of Radhakund, just took few drops on his head. That's it. Never ever entered Radhakund, took bath in Radhakund. So all his sannyasi disciples followed the same example. So that is why, but Prabhupada is very merciful here that even for us, he's telling that we should take bath because by taking bath, we purify our heart, which is filled with so many anarthas, so many vasanas. Ar kab nitai chander karuna hoibe samsara vasana kabe তুচ্ছ হইবে বিষয়া ছাড়িয়া কবে সুদা হবে মন তবে হরি বল Shri Vrindavan. So by Nityanand Prabhu's mercy, that is spiritual master, when all the vasanas in the heart are completely eradicated, then we can actually by Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu is the Sandhini potency of the Lord who manifests both the material world and the spiritual world. The existence, Sankarshan expands as to the three Purusha avatars in the material world. So, in one sense, everything is a potency of Balram. So, the Dham ultimately has to reveal by the mercy of spiritual master and Balram. And that is why we need to take the permission of the spiritual master. And that too, it should be done with lot of awe and respect to Radhakund. And the best thing to do is, which all are recommending, which I have heard from all proper disciples, is best is to sit on the bank of Radhakund, chant, take a lota, and pour it over her head, and don't even keep your foot inside Radhakund because actually Radhakund is not different from Srimati Radharani. Prabhupada says, na, uh, if you kick Radhakund, then you are kicking Radhamadani's body. So, and that's why Bhakti Siddhanta Sarji Thakur never kept his feet inside. So, that is how we need to, do this. And if it is done in this kind of a mood, then by the spiritual master's mercy, Balram's mercy, Dham's mercy, if our heart gets purified, then we can advance in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Now, when the four Kumaras went and they crossed the seven gates and seventh gate they were stopped, and then ultimately Narayan came. So they attained the darshan of the Lord. And just the fragrance of Tulsi entering their nostrils, their heart got transformed. That famous verse is there, Tasyar Vindam Nayanasya Padar Vindam Kinjal Kamishra Makaranda Vayu Sanshubhya Jusham Apitanva. They were actually fixed in bliss of Brahmanand that got completely disturbed. And now they experience prema in their heart for Narayan. So their chitta was already purified where their sadhana, gyan sadhana, and so just coming in contact with one limb of bhakti, that is, spelling the the tulsi offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, there was complete transformation, then they become pure. Sukdev Goswami was the imperialist, just hearing one verse recited by his disciples, his heart got transformed and immediately became a pure devotee. So, for these personalities like four Kumaras and Sukhdev Goswami, it is coming in contact with these spiritual substances once, they become purified and they are already purified, they become pure devotees. But for sadhakas, we should repeatedly come in contact with these spiritual substances like the Lord's darshan, the Lord's, saurabhya, what is offered, the garlands, the Tulsi Bala, having the Charnamrit, by which slowly, slowly Cheto Darpan Marjanam will happen. So that is why Prabhupada is mentioning that as many times as possible so that Chit gets pure. And Prabhupada says, this is the most important item in execution of devotional service. So this is, but again, as I was mentioning, we need to take the permission of the spiritual master. I remember at least 4 times I visited Vrindavan, and all the 4 times I visited Radhakund, but I did not take bath because I did not get the permission of my spiritual master. Only in the 5th time I got this permission, and then I was able to take a bath. So that is one important principle you'll have to apply in your life. Okay. Now, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. Prabhupada is paraphrasing here in paragraph 2. I'll just read. And this is our ultimate goal. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Golok Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Siddha Deha. Now again, this is that exalted, by Raghvanaga Sadhana, they know their spiritual body, they have attained Bhava Bhakti, and now by Prema, they are going to go back to the spiritual world, should live at Radhakund, so who have Siddha Deha, not sadhakas, please remember. Take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha and under their direction engage constantly in her service. So they have to, serve the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha. They should live there and serve Srimati Radharani as the confidential maid servants and maid servants of the maid servants. So this is what Thakur says. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarita Thakur writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narad and Sanak do not get an opportunity to come to Radhakund and take their baths. I mentioned what? Because there is a Ras Virod happening because they are situated in Dasya and Sakiras and Shant and Dasiras, Shant and Dasiras. So that's why they are not able to access it. So at least what is the fortune coming in touch with Gaudiya Vaishnavism? We can at least visit by Dham's mercy, spiritual master mercy on our yatras to Radhakund, But we have to remember there is the Drishyaman Radhakund and the Aprakrit Radhakund, the spiritual Radhakund. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? Now, Prabhupada says, if by great fortune one gets an opportunity to come to Radhakund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna exactly as the gopis did. So again, this deeper meaning of this verse is that, the Siddha Deha. We mentioned that we have to get purified, and then only, we might go buy a ticket from any place to Delhi and then take a taxi and go to Radhakund. But that is physically entering Vrindavan, but you have to enter, the spiritual Aprakrit Vrindavan or the Aprakrit Radhakund. It's also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radhakund and he should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her assistant gopis. If one is thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Sri Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life on the banks of Radhakund. So we have to do our Raganuga Bhajan on the banks of Radhakund. That we can do mentally also, but again, our mind is not fixed in hearing the mantra. We are battling and struggling to chant our rounds, and sleep is troubling us, harassing us. This is our situation right now in the conditioned state. This is our condition this is our condition. Okay, now last paragraph. The conclusion is that to live on the banks of Radhakund and to bathe there constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain even for great sages and devotees like Narad. Thus, there is no limit to the glory of Radhakund. There is no limit to the glory of Radhakund. By serving Radhakund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis by serving Radhakund. And the highest possible way to serve Radhakund is by preaching the glories of bhakti all over the world. That is also, the highest perfection which Prabhupada taught us. Okay, some final constrictions. Take bath in Radhakund with the permission of the spiritual master, which I mentioned. Take bath with utmost respect, understanding the glories of Radhakund. And I mentioned not to keep in your feet. Take a lota and then pour it. We can understand the glories of Sri Radhakund when we understand Updeshamrit text 1 to 10, especially live according to text 1 to 8. Followers Sri Prabhupada who are highly elevated, though qualified to reside in Radhakund, prefer to preach and be in their respective preaching fields. Srila Prabhupada wanted his followers not to spend much time at Radhakund and respect the Babaji there from a respectful distance and not to associate with them. This is what, those who are living in the presence of Mathura Mandal, especially Delhi, we should be very careful, because you don't know the contamination in the philosophy is so deep rooted. So, and we are not able to understand the philosophy, first of all. So that's why, there's no easy way out. First, you have to control your Vegas. And I'll tell you, at least it'll take 10-15 years if you're sincerely practicing, then to master these Vegas. Then enter into verse 2 and 3. Come to verse 4, 5, 6, 7. Destroy avidya and be situated in position of nishta. Then from ruchi asakti, then you're in verse 8. Bhava is 9. And then when you've attained that, you are preaching the glories of bhakti everywhere. It's as good as you're staying on the banks of Radhakund. Okay, so that completes our discussion. And do you have any questions up till now what we discussed? Any questions? Shubha Ikshana Krishna Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, like for us now, those devotees who have already taken bath. Now,
Mhm.
how do we, what do I say? I'm not getting that word. How do we, now we have a guilt feeling. Now, how do we take care of that part?
We take care of that part now that because now we have this knowledge and understanding. So I did not know it. So we sincerely, pray that, we try to implement it. And next time whenever we get an opportunity, we take, consideration of all these finer points. Of course, I'm not going into a lot detail. There can be a lot detail to be discussed, but again, I felt in this forum, it is not required at this point. So only these few important points I mentioned, taking permission of the spiritual master, not to keep your feet inside Radhakund because it's Radhakund is non-different from Srimati Radharani. It's actually the body of Radha Rani in the molten liquid prema form. Radha and Krishna have transformed themselves into this molten liquid, in this liquid dravya form. And they are always, united here in Radhakund and Shamkund. So it's the glory of this place is even great sages. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions that none of the other sampradayas, acharyas also cannot understand the glory of Radhakund. Those who are not in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, they just cannot understand and fathom the glories of Radhakund. So that's what we have been given. So we have to take it with a lot of respectful attitude and a lot of reverence. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone else? Okay. So thank you very much. Shri Updesha Amrit ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Jitendra Khatri Prabhuji, you have a question?
Prabhuji, is this
Yeah.
today was the last class or we are going to have another class?
Today is the last class. 11 verses are over.
We will miss you, na Prabhuji. So how to get association of yours in future?
We'll be having some seminars regularly. Yeah.
So you can even continue with some other books, na? Maybe NOD
Yeah.
or issue or something.
Yes, we'll see that.
Actually,
I'll have to work
to be
out
very
on my
honest,
schedule.
I'm reading or at least I'm hearing something, na? It is a scheduled meeting. Otherwise, from our end, we cannot do anything. Neither we can read, neither I can hear lecture, nothing happens. It is systematic, and we 5 days a week we are hearing at least. So it is
Yeah.
really very nice.
Yeah, I'll just come to that. So we'll just end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Updesha Amrit ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.